Salutations from Wizard Studios. I am the Wizard. We have another news episode coming to you. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody to please give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel when you do. Also, subscribe for more MMA content. And let's get right into it. Alright, first up. The UFC is looking to hold the May 9th event in Florida. Now, we were first hearing that they were trying to hold the event in Nevada at the UFC Apex facility. It looks like things have changed. If I had to guess, I would suspect that the Nevada State Athletic Commission is not allowing the UFC to hold the May 9th event there. So, we would think that since Florida has passed legislation saying that they will allow sporting events that broadcast to a national audience to be an essential business. So it looks like the UFC is going to try their luck in Florida. And now that will help out a lot since that legislation has passed. And I suspect that as long as ESPN/Disney will allow the UFC to go forth with this event, I suspect that they will be able to in Florida if in fact they are looking to go there, and that is what everybody is reporting at this time. So right now it looks like the UFC May 9th card will take place in Florida. Alright, so Ian Cutelaba appeal to the stoppage of the Magomed Ankalaev fight was denied. So the stoppage stands. And if y'all remember, this was the bad stoppage where Ian Cutelaba was doing the old-fashioned rope-a-dope, and then the referee steps in and stops the fight way too early. Now, he appealed it, and now the appeal is denied. They were supposed to fight on the UFC 249 card to run it back to see what the results would be, because we all know that stoppage was way early. He was probably not even hurt at all. When you look at the replay, he was blocking and parrying the shots that were coming his way. So I feel bad for Ian Cutelaba, but it looks like he will get the rematch. We just do not know when. So right now, I would suspect that they would try to get them on the next card since they were supposed to be on the UFC 249 card. We will see. Right now, I am not sure. Amanda Nunes is reportedly pulling out of the May 9th card, citing she is not able to train properly for the Felicia Spencer title bout. So, Amanda Nunes, one of the most notable champions right now, a double champ. A lot of people think she is the best female fighter of all time, is now pulling out of the May 9th card because she is reportedly not able to train properly. Now, Amanda Nunes is a dog. She always loves to fight. She wanted to fight Cyborg right away when they were first talking about that fight. We all know how much Amanda Nunes loves to be in the cage. But it seems now that she does not want to fight because she's not been able to get the proper training. And I can understand that she is a double champ. She does not want to lose even an inch of ground as far as her being the best female fighter of all time. She is always talking about wanting to go in the Hall of Fame. That will be her biggest honor, I suspect, because she's always talking about it. Now, what do we take from this? All I take is that Amanda Nunes does not want to lose her belt. And she doesn't want to lose it from a halfway training camp, or whatever you want to call it, because they are not able to train properly right now, you know, getting enough bodies in there to say. So, you know, I do not take this the wrong way for Amanda Nunes. I believe that she is doing the proper thing because she has a lot to lose. We all have to remember that. She is the most decorated women's fighter right now, and she doesn't want to lose any ground in that argument for her to be the best of all time, and I can respect that. So let's talk about Lyman Good. The last time we were talking about Lyman Good, we had reported that he pulled out of UFC 249 with an injury. But in fact, it has come out that he had the current situation. So what does that mean? Lyman Good is the first UFC fighter that I know of to get the current situation But let's not jump to conclusions. He's already said that he has beat it. He has beaten the current situation. So we do not have to worry about him, getting iller or whatever you may think. He's already passed it, reportedly, and so we don't have that much to worry about. It was lucky of him to be able to beat it, but he did not want to report that he had it. So he said he had an injury. I can respect that, okay? He doesn't want to get all these reporters coming up to him, asking him how he's doing, or, calling him, because I guess they wouldn't come up to him if he had it. So he didn't want to get bombarded with phone calls and all that. He was just trying to get well. I can respect that. Lyman Good is a dog. He's always in there looking to finish the fight. And it looks like he won another fight. And we can all give him a round of applause for that, because this thing has taken out a lot of people. So I respect Lyman Good's decision for not wanting to first report it. And I'm very, very happy that he beat it. Now, because a lot of people weren't that lucky, as we see every day. So, mad respect for Lyman Good. I'm glad that everything is well with him. I hope we see him in there as soon as possible. If everything checks out and he's well and good enough to get back in the octagon, because that dude is a dog, and I love to see him fight every single time. So, hats off to Lyman Good. I'm glad that everything has gone well. So Alexei Oleinik has come out and said that the current situation isn't as big of a risk as a cage fight. And now, I can see Alexei Oleinik saying this, it is not as bad as getting in the cage. I could see him saying this. And you know what? I believe him when he does say this, that he doesn't believe it is as big of a risk as getting in the cage. Because you know what? You have dudes throwing bombs on you in the cage. You can get permanently brain damaged forever. Now, we all know how bad the current situation is. I don't even like to talk about it because it gets people's mind thinking and thinking and thinking. So, when you hear Alexei Oleinik say this, you just got to take it with a grain of salt, because this dude is from a different part of the world and he sees way worse things, I would imagine, I don't know for sure, than what we see over here in America. So, for Alexei Oleinik to say this, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can see this. And you know what? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't want people to pull it out of context and just go, Alexei Oleinik isn't taking this seriously. Because I believe he is taking it seriously, but I believe that he's doing it in his own way, like we all are, taking this in our own way. So for Alexei Oleinik to say this, you know what? I'm okay with it. Now, Paulo Costa has come out and pledged to donate his brain once he has passed to the research for brain damage. Now, this is a really cool thing that Paulo Costa is doing. A lot of people say, hey, I want to help out as much as possible for research on CTE, brain damage, whatever you want to say. And you know what? Paulo Costa has gone the extra mile to donate his brain once he has passed for the research of this. I really think this is a good thing that Paulo Costa is doing, because what better research than a fighter, a guy that takes ton of damage, not saying that Paulo Costa gets hit a lot, but the guy is a banger, okay? He goes in there to take guys out, and he is not afraid to take damage. So, we saw that in the Yoel Romero fight. So when you look at this is awesome. I think this is a really cool thing he's doing. You do not see this that often from fighters. In fact, this is the first one that I've heard about. I'm sure there's more, but this is the first one that I've heard about. And you know what? Hats off to Paulo Costa, because he has the gonads to do this. A lot of people, when they're gone, they don't, they're just like, they don't even think about things like this. And he does. And so that shows you where his head's at, and that shows you what kind of person this guy is. So, you know what, Paulo Costa, I'm very happy you're doing this. I think this is a significant step, to help out mixed martial artists and what they understand they're doing, to the next level. Everybody knows that they're taking damage. But, once this research comes in, which of course will most likely be way down the line, way after Paulo Costa is even thought about as a fighter, I think that this is awesome. I really do. I don't know how other way to say it, but if this does happen, I can only imagine what the enlightenment will be. Paulo Costa pledges to donate his brain for research on brain damage. Now, this is an interesting topic, okay? Because Paulo Costa is a very high-profile fighter who is now pledging to donate his brain after he has passed, of course, to the research of brain damage, CTE, all those types of things. And you know what? When you think about this, what better person's brain to have than a professional fighter, a UFC fighter at that? So you think about this, once they do this research, if everything goes according to plan, the enlightenment that it will give fighters to know exactly what they're taking every time they get into the octagon, cage, whatever, okay? Ring, whatever it may be. Now, this will be a significant, I don't even know the correct word to say, because it's just so significant that these fighters will get this knowledge, okay? This knowledge. Now, again, when you think about this, of course this will be way down the line. So, for Paulo Costa to do this, I really think this is a big step in learning more about what the fighter takes when he steps in to the cage, ring, octagon. Now let's talk about Tyron Woodley beefing with Izzy Adesanya and others. So Tyron Woodley now has been going back and forth on Twitter with Izzy, with Dan Hooker, with Kamaru Usman, all these people. And you know what? When you think about this, you think that Tyron Woodley never really was the person to just spray the parking lot with beef, okay? But now, you look at it, this guy's getting older, okay? He's getting older. I think he's 38 years old now, all right? So he doesn't have long left to fight. This dude is just trying to stay relevant. Not saying that he isn't relevant. He is one of the best welterweights on the planet. Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, and then probably Tyron Woodley, okay? That's the way I see it. A lot of people may see it differently, but that's the way I see it. So Tyron Woodley is not only already way up there on the totem pole, but you know what? He wants to keep his name in there. He wants to keep his name relevant. He's talking about winning the welterweight title back and then going up and fighting Izzy. He wants to achieve more before he leaves this sport, and I respect that. He is just trying to raise the price of his, wealth, of what he is worth. That is what he is trying to do. So, when you think about it, I think that this is actually a very smart move by Tyron Woodley. I think that this will get him more viewers. I think that him doing all the other stuff that he does, rapping, the TMZ thing, all this is all good. He is staying in the spotlight, and this is just another way for him to stay in that spotlight and to keep getting the dollars that he wants. Justin Gaethje has been talking about being the spoiler for the Khabib versus Tony fight. Now, he talked about this in an interview with Brett Okamoto, and I believe that Justin Gaethje wants to see that fight. He even says that he wants to see that fight, but he can't pass up the opportunity to fight Tony Ferguson for the interim belt. That means that he will get the next shot, in all likelihood, for the title. How could he pass something like this up? I don't even understand why people would ask him that. But, he even talks about it. I want to see that fight. That's a great fight. All this other stuff. And I believe Justin Gaethje. I think that he does want to see that fight. But, of course, he is going to take this fight with Tony Ferguson. The dude is a killer, okay? His chances of beating Tony Ferguson, I think, are significant, okay? The dude has one-punch knockout power, okay? And like I've said in the past, Tony Ferguson can be hit. He is going to take full advantage of this opportunity. He also talks about taking the fight on short notice. We all know that Justin Gaethje doesn't want to take a fight on short notice. He's talked about that in the past, but he can't turn this down, all right? This is a title fight. It is for the interim belt. It is to see who will fight Khabib next. And I don't know if he will get the Khabib fight next. I think that he may have to defend the interim title, like I've said in the past, against Conor McGregor before he actually gets the fight with Khabib. So this is lining Gaethje's stars up, okay, if you will. This is lining his stars up, and he knows the path, and he is going to follow the path. He cannot turn this down. So speaking on Conor McGregor, him and Tony have been going back and forth on Twitter. Now, Tony just pretty much told him to get in line. So when we think about Conor McGregor getting in line, he does not have far to go. We all know that. He's not far down the totem pole. He is one of the best lightweights on the planet, okay? We all know that. Everybody sees how good Conor McGregor is. But is Conor McGregor going to fight Justin Gaethje next? Because the line is not long. He doesn't have to beat a couple of people. He has to beat one person, and that is Justin Gaethje. He may not even have to do that. So when you look at this, is Conor McGregor really going to fight Justin Gaethje? I believe if Justin Gaethje does beat Tony Ferguson, then Conor McGregor will fight him. That is the only line he will have to go through, is Justin Gaethje. Even if he doesn't have to do that, I can see it, man. He brings in money. But we all want to see the Gaethje fight. We all know how good that will be. And if Justin Gaethje does get past Tony Ferguson and all of that cardio and everything that he does bring, he deserves a money fight with Conor McGregor. Now, we all know that he wants the fight with Khabib, but fighting Conor will bring him more money. We all know that. It's just a fact. And he's already, if he does beat Tony, he will get paid as a champion. So he's going to get paid as a champion for a title fight, pay-per-view money, and he will also get the Conor McGregor money. So I can see this fight happening. I do not see Justin Gaethje turning down Conor McGregor, and I believe that is the only person in line that he will have to go through. Can Henry Cejudo take down Dominick Cruz? Now, this is the question that is on everybody's mind. Henry Cejudo has some of the best, if not the very, very best wrestling chops in all of the UFC. He is an Olympic gold medalist, okay? His pedigree is unprecedented. But we all know how slippery Dominick Cruz is. It's so difficult to even get your hands on that dude, even land a punch. The only person that's really been able to do it successfully, or two people rather, is TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt. That is it. That is it. So, can Dominick Cruz stay away from Henry Cejudo? I believe he can. If Henry Cejudo does get his hands on him, Dominick Cruz already has very good wrestling, okay? But not as good as Henry Cejudo. But his MMA wrestling is very good. So, that begins to make you wonder, can he take him down? Can Henry Cejudo take down Dominick Cruz? I believe that it will be probably his hardest task to get Dominick Cruz to the mat. I believe this will be his hardest task, okay? He's already a good striker. People can say he's only a wrestler. That is long sailed, all right? That ship is long sailed. Henry Cejudo can strike. He is going to have to strike with Dominick Cruz to get the takedown. And if he sets it up properly, I believe he can take him down. But it will be very difficult, and it will probably be his hardest task in all of MMA today, besides, beating Mighty Mouse, will be taking down Dominick Cruz. That dude is slippery. Alright, so I want to thank everybody for watching this. Please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to the channel for more MMA content, and we will see you in the next video.